Hey guys, and welcome to the final episode of What the Movie. And here on this couch, we have Ash, Patrick, Kaimani, and Joseph all the way up there. And we are going to do something very different this time around. I'm going to interview them for this awesome movie that has been on YouTube for like a day now called MIMESIS. It has been directed by Joseph up there, and I saw it at the premiere. I thought it was fantastic. We already talked about it last episode. But I want to ask you guys some very genuine questions because I want to know more about the production and how it was done. So, Jesus Christ Superstar over there, Joseph, hi. Number one, were there any film influences that you had while drafting the film? And if you did, what are those films?
That's a really good question. And before we start, I also just would like to say that Ali, our producer, was supposed to be here. She played a huge part in like making the movie and like putting everything together. So just shout out to her, and I wish she could be here. But as far as influences, a lot of it was subconscious. Like I've heard like It Follows and even like The Thing, which like wasn't really like at the top of my mind when I was writing it. I just started, which I know it sounds crazy. Like it's so like it's so similar where like I could totally see like that being like it's a ripoff, right? But like I kind of just started writing like based on personal experience, and like those influences sort of just like started to kind of like come together. And I'm not trying to say that it's like a completely original idea, because it's totally not, but like all those things just sort of like years of watching movies just kind of came together and like kind of produced this thing that's kind of an amalgamation of all these little like pieces that that I didn't realize I was kind of like soaking in throughout the years. And another, again, I just want to give a shout out to Ali again, because she helped with writing it and like concepting the whole thing. So like a lot of people's favorite scene, like the whole nightmare sequence, that was all Ali's idea. So it's really like I would feel weird like taking credit for like just completely writing it, because everyone has brought in like their own little spin on it, and it's turned out really cool. Yeah.
That's amazing, dude. I'm happy that you have like an emotional motivation to making the film. That's always been how directors make the best work, and I think this is 100% probably some of the coolest things I've seen in this university, so that's amazing. Also, I'm glad you gave credit to Ali, because of the fact that one of the questions was for her, but now she's not here, and I'm like, okay, so that's amazing. I'm glad she was a huge part of that. But I do want to ask you another question. What was the most memorable challenge, or this is an or question, I'm going to give you this. What was the most memorable challenge while making the film, or what was the easiest part of making this film?
Both of, okay, so the most memorable challenge I think was the panic attack scenes.
Yeah.
Those were super difficult for everyone on set. Ash had to be in a really like emotional place to like do those things. So it's like Ash also killed it, so shout out again. But that was definitely difficult, even to just like be behind the camera for that, because like, like you see your friend like going through this really realistic like panic attack, and you're like, I want to set down the camera and like just be there, but like it's just like I don't know, like I definitely felt like weird about like holding that shot for so long, but I think it was good in service of the story, just because like these things are uncomfortable, and it's like something that we didn't want to really shy away from, so that was really difficult, like conveying that, and then I would say the easiest part was just like, I don't know, like a lot of just like, it was a lot of fun. So that made it a lot easier, I think, especially with like such like dark subject matter. But I don't know, what would you guys say like the hardest or easiest part of being on set was?
Oh.
Go ahead.
I have an easy one, because I wasn't in that much of the movie. The biggest shoot that I had was probably the roughest one, just because we were shooting from like 7 to like 1 in the morning.
Set in the barn?
Yeah. The scene at the barn took a really long time to shoot, and because we had to shoot it from a lot of different angles, and we had to go back over it a lot of times. And I think the scene turned out really well, so I was happy with it, with how it turned out. So it was retroactively less annoying, but we did have to drive 45 minutes out to the barn, and I was very tired by the end of the shoot. Yeah.
Now, I will say, like you gave a good transition. I want to talk to you, Ash, because I want to ask you this very amazing question. Ash, what was your favorite scene to act in this film, and did you have any challenges playing an impressive dual performance?
I don't know if I can pick a scene. I will say that I really enjoyed filming any scenes where I got to act with other people, because it's so much easier to like bounce energy off of somebody else who's actually in the room with you. I really enjoyed acting with you. I actually really had a lot of fun at the barn, even though I was tired.
Yeah.
And y'all were just watching.
UFC on their phones.
It
was 287. It was an important fight. It was a very important
I will
fight.
say, like, despite all of that, like, acting with other people for me is always a lot easier and a lot more fun than like talking to a pretend Minecraft wolf, which was like our eye line for like either the creature or the dog. And a lot of the times we filmed me talking to the floor or the camera as Carly, because we only had one day with Carly, who's the dog. And then the rest of the time I was like picking a spot and then pretending it was a dog or myself. And that was really difficult. I definitely still had a lot of fun with it, but it was really weird, and like I definitely got a lot of whiplash like in the same day, having to go from like being the victim in this horror film to then having to switch to a mindset of being this like creature, this like out of world creature that's like in somebody else's body.
Yeah.
It was definitely a lot of whiplash, I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, you are doing more than most actors are doing with won Oscars, by the way. I just want to let you know that. Like, that's a very
It's just like their Sybil
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, yeah,
They're
I mean,
Sally Fields. So.
Well, I mean, you acted in Kobe as well, so
I
you
wanted to
get the
speak
same
to that,
kind
like
of.
the idea of talking to somebody who's not there. You're supposed to envision yourself, basically. To act in a scene like that is drastically difficult, because the best acting is generally done in an honest way, responding to the person across from you.
yes.
But when that person is imaginary, in your head, it becomes such a challenge. And for Ash to do this throughout the entire film was so phenomenal. But I also want to speak of Joseph's direction, because whenever I was in a scene, I mean, I was just a supporting role, but even being there for Ash and behind the scenes, they were given such clear directions and kind of just like, and also space to explore. And it became this very comfortable space, or safe space, as an actor to be, and to be in a very vulnerable situation. To have that safe space on a set is not always possible. It's not always a thing. To be honest, it generally is not. Usually an actor is upset, crying, because they have to be in this emotional state, and everybody else is jovial, joking around, and like, you know, but Joseph, Ali, and the crew was able to create this space in which an actor like Ash is able to give their best because they feel safe and they trust the people across the screen to be there for them in a very honest way, in a very human way. And the humanity I think Ali and Joseph bring to the set is very apparent. There is never, like, we would run long hours. The very few days that I shot, which is not many, but like, they really, like, I would shoot to like 1 or 2, the couple of days that happened, but the entire time they were checking on us. They were making sure that everything was okay. And you know, it was this really, really comfortable spot. So really, like, Ash was able to do this, I think, I'm speaking for you, it's just, it seemed really, really awesome. I'm just really appreciative, just have a supporting role, and to have that space to kind of act and have good direction, or clear direction. And it was a really lovely thing, I think.
Oh my God, I just got teary-eyed hearing that. Oh my God, okay.
It was
As much as I love the lead performance, I gotta give it up to you and Kaimani. I think you both were incredible. Kaimani, you're an amazing comedic actor. But now that you gave that incredible answer, I'm so happy that you're the next person I'm gonna ask this question to. What was your first thought when you first read the script?
Oh, my first thought?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought when I first read the script, what was most interesting was how personal it was to the lead character, how it just kind of envelops anxiety. And while it is a monster, it's a monster from the inside. And I think the thing that makes it so different from The Thing, so different from It Follows, so different from Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
It's
what
led
makes
by
it
a woman?
Well, one, it's led by a woman. The Thing prequel aside, but that was
not
trash,
just
so
that.
we won't explain that. But the monster is outward. It's always like this other person is not who they are.
Yeah.
It's always outward. The only person you can trust is yourself. But what makes this so different, what makes it stand out, what makes it almost amazing is the monsters within. Like, I can't trust myself. I am vacuuming, I'm doing all these crazy things in my apartment. I'm looking out the window and it's me. And that's the most terrifying thing. So the trust, the fear is not outward, it's inward. And when the climax, is it okay if we add spoilers? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
come
a
on.
movie.
Okay, cool.
Movie's
All right, well,
Yes.
spoiler alert, when it's
fine.
James, it's an outward threat, but in reality, James is the only person they can genuinely rely on. He's the one who's coming there, supporting them, calling them, every week. It's literally a line, like constantly there. So that fear, even though it's technically outward, it's very inward. The one person they can trust is
then
now a monster, legitimately. The only person they love and have a history with is a monster. So I really love the concept that the fear is inward. And I really think you do yourself a disservice to a degree saying that it's a rip-off, because it's not. I think all great ideas
I dislike
are,
the thing because I feel like the entire time, and I like the practical effects in the thing, but I think that the
Standards.
entire time the characters make such poor choices the whole time. And with Elle, I was kind of like, no, I'm gonna make the choices that make sense to me. I'm not gonna trip when I'm running away, because when adrenaline is coursing through my body, I'm not gonna be tripping. I'm running away from something. I know what I'm doing. And as an anxious person, I definitely agree with a lot of the times, the thing I'm most scared of is myself at the end of the day.
and I think that's the most human, almost relatable aspect of it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, holy crap. Hey, Monty. Hey. You there in the right side. Do you enjoy acting? And would you genuinely do it again? Because you remind me of Kieran Culkin sometimes.
I do very much like acting. It's one of the only things I do like doing.
Wow.
No, okay, that's not entirely true. But I mean, in terms of things that are just you do it for the sake of doing it, yeah, I love acting. I like the idea of entertaining people. I like the idea of, making people laugh, or just making people experience emotions in general. I definitely want to continue acting in Cable 8. That was a very weirdly personal question. I mean, not weird, but I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to be about the movie.
No, it's about you too, man. You guys are the movie. You guys are the reason why it's the way it is. And that's incredible.
Oh, man.
I now have only one other question left. Joseph, I was gonna ask this to Allie again. Thank you for giving her her credit. Can you please put "Hold My Hot Pockets" on the T-shirt, please? Because I'll be your first buyer. I'm just saying that. You guys made an iconic gag, and that's hard to do in movies. So
That was all Ash. That wasn't Apple.
No, that was Patty.
Was it Patty?
Yeah.
I really like that. Hold my hot pocket.
yes,
Yeah.
and it made everybody laugh at the premiere, which is amazing, and it was so much fun.
There were a lot of laughs.
A lot of them,
there were a lot of laughs.
There's a lot of improv lines
I do feel like there should be a
too.
shout out
Dude,
to
this place
Alex just
sucks.
dying, because his wiener monologue, or hot dog monologue.
I do
Yeah.
have some questions that I didn't even ask or even put in my phone. I just want to ask you guys just Joseph, one question. So my favorite sequence in the whole film is actually when you change the ratio to 4:3 aspect ratio. And it was this cool, Brandon Cronenberg style, trippy ride. And I want to ask you, I guess, two different questions. Just why, what was your idea of, why did you change it like that? Why did you do that?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of answers to it. So initially, I think I wanted to have a way of showing that transition from real life to a dream, really in a way that the audience is yeah, this is very clearly a dream. There's some trippy stuff in the movie, so I just wanted to kind of show that shift. The other reason is that I wanted to do a callback to the beginning of the movie with the that documentary.
Yes. Yes.
When we put that in, we were just we want to sort of call back to that and remind the audience that this thing is it's stalking Elle. It's super vicious, and then sort of we also kind of wanted to before that final fight sequence just kind of take a breather and sort of give Elle that revelation of it only attacks you when it's when you're by yourself.
Yes.
And I thought maybe doing it through a dream when your subconscious is kind of telling you these things is maybe a good place to do that. And then, yeah, as far as like the aspect ratio change, it was also sort of like, I wanted it to feel super claustrophobic, and I feel like a good way
It's-
of doing that is just like literally closing in the screen on our character.
Yeah.
So like, it just made sense for the scene, I think. So like, it wasn't like a, like, oh, I really want to change the aspect ratio. It just kind of like was what made sense in the moment, I think.
And that's what made it my favorite scene in the movie, because it didn't feel like just some kind of pretentious thing. Also, you fixed an issue that was in the premiere for YouTube, and that was when it changed. It didn't fully change right away. So the full finished cut is on YouTube, by the way. I already said that. But second, maybe the final question I'll have to ask here. How the heck did you have two of them at the same time? Because I don't know how that works. I know
Masking, baby.
What is masking?
Let's
What is
go.
that? Give me the.
Are we gonna explain the
little
editing
pencil.
of it?
No, I feel like
Yeah,
we keep-
I never.
keep
I-
this
You
what is-
wanna go for it?
No,
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Okay. Which one?
Go for
Hot
it.
potato.
I mean, you had to do it every single time, which is kind of a pain in the ass.
Yes.
Yeah, it for sure is. It's difficult, but like after you kind of like get the hang of it, you know, it's sort of it's easier than it looks. I think it's if you go into Premiere, there's this effect. It's like opacity, pretty much. So you just like go in the effects panel for you cableators if you want to, you know, take our thing. But you just pretty much like make an outline over like who you're trying to like put into the scene. And then you, if there's something that moves in front of it, you have to adjust that little mask like frame by frame. A lot of those like scenes where you see like movements or like any sort of obstruction of like the character, that is all like done by hand, each individual frame, like probably like 20 or 30 points, which gets super tedious. But I think the hardest, even harder than just like masking it out, is like playing that role where you have to like respond to yourself, but like a different creepy version of yourself. And like, that's a lot harder than just like editing it, you know? Because like once it's like out there, it's just pretty easy to just like pot a couple points and,
Yeah.
and, you know.
Yeah, and how you did that one scene where it was just this fantastic, where it was looked like a one take, but it was switching through day and night, like a Ari Aster trailer or something like that. I thought that was incredible. So I just
Just had to keep the tripod in the same spot. For like
yeah,
Days
but it
days
was
on
just
end.
like watching that was incredible,
Yeah.
and seeing that on a huge IMAX-like screen was incredible. I loved it. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it up real quick. Joseph, the next Sam Raimi, you are incredible. Ash, the next. Crap, I don't know.
Ash.
The next, yes, next you. Patrick, the next Leo DiCaprio.
Oh,
Keimani,
God.
the next Kieran Culkin
Last
just got
Supermodel
nominated for an Emmy,
fan,
so you're
so.
amazing. Okay, so this is the final episode of What the Movie. This was so much fun. I'm glad I'm talking with these people, and hopefully we have a potential season 2. But that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching.